Greetings, everyone, on the SciFiction Awesomeness. My name is Owen C. Cotter, and you're watching SciFiction on All Digital Awesomeness. We are transmitting on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, simulcasting across the board. We're going to be coming to you here today with two amazing gentlemen, legends of animation and beyond. One's name is Michael Hirsh. The other name is Clive A. Barker. Excuse me, Clive A. Smith. Clive Barker is the guy from Hellraiser's Kitchen. Mars has some updates here about what we're going to be doing here coming up in the weeks to come. Can you go over that? She's in the background, by the way. Let her talk there.
Hi,
She's
guys.
doing some command stuff on the.
Sorry if you don't see me on there, but I'm here in the background.
Right.
I hope everyone's doing good.
Yes.
Thank you for our followers. Without you guys, we would not be where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So updates. Our next events that we are going to will be Fun Fest or Fan Fest?
Fandom Fest, Fandom
Fest.
Night, Fan Fest Nights.
Yeah, Fan Fest Nights,
Yeah.
which is in the Universal Studios Hollywood.
Yeah.
We're so excited for that 25th, and stay tuned on that one because I will be going live on that one as well.
We will.
It's going to be amazing. Then we're going to shoot it right early in the morning on Saturday to Las Vegas. We're going to go
Level Up Expo, video game
for
awesome.
the LVL Up Expo, which I remember this year was our first year there, and it's amazing. I loved it.
Yes.
It's so many retro games, but not only U.S. games.
They have demos too.
You have from Russia, you have from Germany, you have from Japan, all over the world. And they're all lined up for you guys to see. But not only that, they also have technology,
everything,
innovative things, amazing.
Alienware Computers is one of their sponsors.
Alienware is actually one of their main sponsors. So stay tuned, and we're hoping to get interviews with amazing actors, voice actors, and even technology people as well. That's one of those two. The next one's going to be in May, which is the ICCC.
Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention Awesomeness.
That will be in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. That one we love. So stay tuned because they're going to have so many special guests.
Yes.
It is not a Star Wars theme event.
It's everything, sci-fi, pop culture, you name it.
I will say they got a lot of Star Wars fans, right?
Heavy collecting of everything from vintage Star Wars, G.I. Joe, you name it, everything. If you want your last 17 Power of the Force 2 or any kind of cool collectibles, vintage and a little bit modern, check out IC Collectors Convention. IC Nashville, just Google it on the internet. We're actually one of the sponsors this year. We're absolutely amazingly happy to go to that. It's a seventh year, I believe. Yes. Number 7, lucky 7. So that's this year, and then after that, what we're going to do?
Well, before ICCC, I did forget we are going to be going to a charity event.
Secret event. Cannot say much more than that.
Sorry, secret event.
What's a charity event? But that's all I can say right now.
You guys are going to love it. That one is really good.
It's awesome.
Then after ICC, of course, we're going to be going to SDCC.
San Diego Comic-Con 2025 presentation.
I'm just so stoked for that one because that is just so big, but they have
we love Comic-Con. Absolutely love it. It's like a blast. 6 miles of walking, getting all the coverage for you, the fans, but it is absolutely, we love it.
It's a lot of walking every day, but we don't care because we want to bring you guys fresh content, amazing interviews, and, pictures of everything, cosplayers. And you have your very well-known cosplayers.
Yes. Lots of them.
Then following after San Diego Comic-Con, we are going to be going to STLV
59 years.
59.
Almost 60 years of Star Trek
and
business.
This year for STLV, the Star Trek Las Vegas, it is not a 3-day event. It is a 5-day event. And it's also being... What is the company?
Creation Entertainment, yes.
Exactly. So
amazing company. Let me say something about Creation. Those guys, when they founded that company, were like 14-year-old comic book geeks, and they've built one of the biggest and coolest convention companies in the world. What are we doing after that?
So
September, October?
STLV, we're hoping, and I'm hoping.
Yeah, what you get?
Once they have it applied, so we can apply for media.
Yeah.
Either New York Comic-Con.
Yes, read pop goodness.
Or C2E2, which is
it's a good one, Chicago, Illinois. It's a very good one. Yeah.
So that's what we have lined up as events go on. But you know us, we are. I always search for Owen, and I'm always searching for random ones, small ones, big ones, medium ones. Like I don't care.
If you have any events you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out to Mars or me on the Digital Awesomeness. Just go to I'll show you how to get to that right quick. This will be easy breezy. Cover girl, or cover woman, or cover man, or whatever Gillette, the best a man can get. So if you go to the site, if you see this right here, contact, you can fill out this. First off, you do not need to open all hailing frequencies on all channels. Simply fill out this form to establish a secure communication link with the bridge. Put your first name, your last name, your email address, whatever you want to talk about. Submit your subject. Boom. Shoots it straight to the bridge of the Starship or the Battlestar Galactica or the Star Destroyer or whatever Rebel Galactic cruiser you're on. And that will basically get you to the we're back. Get you to the bridge to be able to communicate with us. And we're usually pretty prompt, especially when stuff that is very, very important. We definitely get back to you very, very soon. For people just joining us, we're going over the event schedule that we'll be going over here soon. Very hot today, 97 degrees.
Right now, yeah, it's about 94. Probably feel like 90.
Probably not good to be drinking this Diet Coca-Cola, but whatever. But yeah.
So far, that's what we have. I know there's a lot more, but
there's some filming projects and a bunch of other stuff in the roller coaster of awesomeness. We're going to be going to space soon. Today's guest, if you're joining us here, we have two amazing, absolutely phenomenal guests this afternoon coming in like about 10 minutes. One gentleman is Michael Hirsh. The other is Clive A. Smith. And they are both legends of animation.
Legends!
Literal legends. They have created together with a third, I forget his other name, but there's another gentleman who's not with us, but Nelvana, which is at one point, if not, was the world's leading and largest animation company in the world. They've done shows for Lucasfilm such as Droids. They even created the Star Wars Holiday Special Animation segment, Ewoks, Beetlejuice, a bazillion, and pretty much yours, mine, and everybody else's childhood, they created. From the Magic School Bus to Arthur, you name it, they created it. And they did it all. And these guys are absolutely amazing. We had the opportunity. We have not talked ever with Clive A. Smith, but we have talked with Michael Hirsh over at San Diego Comic-Con last year. A beautiful interview with him where we conducted on the back of the Hilton Bayfront, overlooking the water. Just real relaxed, very cool interview. And he basically gave us his information of what he's done with his career. He has a brand new book out too. What is it called? Animation Nation? Animation Nation. Check that out. It's on Amazon. Michael Hirsh, Hirsh. Animation Nation. Believe we may have Clive on the board. Let's wait until we get Michael here just shortly.
Say a little bit more what other things that.
Okay, Michael and Clive, beyond creating Nelvana, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, world's global animation companies in the world, they've done a lot of stuff. George Lucas worked with him on. Basically, they created Boba Fett. I mean, they can't believe that. They designed and got him in the animation, which then parlayed into the Empire that Strikes Back, which was then there you go. Book of Boba Fett, you would not be around without Clive A. Smith and Michael Hirsh. I mean, I'd like to say that. Maybe they could say some more thoughts on that. We've got a lot of stuff going on, as Mars said. Can you go over the last three things we have? We forgot something. Now, Michael and Clive will be at Star Wars Celebration on the, I believe the 19th is their panel. So check that out. They'll be able to tell you more details on that. Also,
so we have one of our writers that will be at Star Wars Celebration in this year, 2025, in Japan.
Yes.
And he is going to be going live stream maybe a week before
from the event
and at the event. So we already sent up. You cannot miss whoever's going. Yeah. He's going to be having some photos. So if you see our writer with SciFiction logo, take a picture with him and hashtag us on our SciFiction. And it would be amazing for you guys to see. We're trying to hopefully we want to do a Star Wars Celebration, but we're hoping to get in the U.S.
Well, they're going to they usually every 2 years or something like that, they have the Star Wars Celebration. This year it's in Tokyo. Last time it was in London. We're thinking probably in Anaheim or Orlando or somewhere next year, over the couple of years. So they'll be, it's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. I forgot about that. But beyond that, we will, April 10th, we'll be bringing him on a short pre-live stream talking about the event. Then April 18th, we will be bringing Kieran on live from the convention floor, simulcasted onto the channel. So stay tuned for that. Clive is on the horn. We're waiting on Michael. My name is Owen C. Cotter. You are watching SciFiction on All Digital Awesomeness on Facebook, on YouTube. Marlene Garza.
Garza.
The Wizard of Awesome behind the scenes.
That's right. Nickname,
that's right.
I'm right here.
Show Mars. Here she is. There she is. She's behind the scene manning the boards of Awesome and all the callers.
I'm the one that's sharing everything when you see me.
Well, we've had a lot of fun. We still got some content we're going to be trickling down from Saturn Awards that we had out in Los Angeles from the 52nd Saturn Awards. Let's bring on Clive here, short, and let's see if Michael joins us. Well, I want to talk to Clive here real briefly, or more than that.
Or we can still keep on talking.
Yeah, let's talk for a second because Michael has not yet joined us.
We can always let them know how CoastCon went.
CoastCon was fun. So CoastCon is the longest running science fiction, fantasy, and literature and gaming event in the Gulf Coast. It's coming up on 2 years on their 50th anniversary, 49, something like that. We had a lot of fun down there. 49, something like 48. Nice. 48 this coming year. This year was 47.
Yes.
They had not Brendan. It was the gentleman who plays Boba Fett. Barry Lowen. Barry Lowen. Yeah, Barry's a cool cat. He complimented my glasses. I'm like, she picked them out. Anyways, but yeah, Barry's a cool cat, and we talked to the lady who did the for the skeleton crew as well. Super nice lady.
She did what character?
Several characters in both the Book of Boba Fett and Skeleton Crew tomorrow. Yeah, so some really cool stuff.
Who loves a Skeleton Crew? That was actually.
It was like Goonies in space. Absolutely amazing. It was amazing.
I'm so. I actually do like that they incorporated. Yes. Kids too, because everything is all 80s, 90s retro.
And Jude Law did an amazing job in there. Yeah, he did. Hope they do a season 2. Please do a season 2. Ahsoka's coming up.
I love Jude Law. I love him from Gattaca.
Gattaca. Ooh, that's a classic science fiction. It's classic.
I love him. He's really amazing in that one.
Amazing film. Really good. I'm looking forward to not only the Mandalorian Grogu. I'm also looking forward to season 2 of Ahsoka because they're basically gearing up. I was talking to Timothy Zahn about this a while back. I got picked his thoughts about who he would like to be the live action Thrawn. Of course, they made the live action Thrawn. And he talked to him about that probably here at ICCC. He's usually there and get his opinions on that. He's a collector, I believe, as well. And he was saying that he would love them to do a live action. Now they have. So they're basically, if I would not be surprised, doing a live action Heir to the Empire because he is an Imperial remnant. And they had the Imperial remnants of the Star Destroyer and the old Stormtroopers. Now we get Grand Admiral Thrawn coming to you live from the Star Wars galaxy because he had to jump from the other galaxy, of course, with that big hyperspace ring they had or something like that. Yeah, man, that was crazy. And the Ezra Bridger is coming. Andor season 2. Now that's one we need to see. That is going to be solid. Diego Luna. It's like reminds me of if Star Wars was more like Blade Runner. It's gritty. It gets back to the. It's like a political thriller with Star Wars as the backdrop. It's totally awesome. Mm-hmm. Any other updates before we join the live?
We have more sabers coming in.
Oh, yes. Sabers. Tell them about the sabers. These are top tier tie-in lightsabers, Air Force grade aluminum with the electronics or Profi board. This is the state-of-the-art Cuba Libre, the Crown Jewel, the Monte Cristo, as in Iron Man 2. What's his name? Justin Hammer would say the ex-wife, the best of the best lightsabers. We're getting a whole bunch of new ones. We're going to be stocking in the online storefront. We will be networking around. If you're at ICCC, Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention in May, I believe 16, 17, 18, something like that, look for us in the swap meet down in the lobby of the big hotel down there. We may even have some goodies down there for you, some brand new ones. And unlike a lot of the sabers, these are the top tier ones, very similar quality of what Star Wars Theory, what the kind of ones he sells, and some of the other top collectors. We'd like to extend our gracious thanks to Michael Havens for allowing us to come to his event. We sponsored him this year. We love ICCC and are looking forward to it as well. I think Warwick Davis will be there. A whole bunch of awesome people. Everybody's going to be at that one. That's probably the biggest sci-fi collector event in the country, I believe, right? Yeah. That I know of. The only anybody that's doing that at that level. People from all over the world come from Japan, Canada, you name it.
So far, that's
Australia.
One of the best ones that we have seen.
Yeah.
If you guys have
Solid
any
gold.
places, remember, if you know any either small cons, we're actually located in Texas.
We are, Texas.
We could drive anywhere in Texas.
From Dallas to Houston.
But if it's
anywhere.
a little further up, like Chicago, Philadelphia or California, what is it, Wyoming? Any of those, we have to fly to those.
Got to fly to those.
But let us know ahead of time. We would love to come and see the Comic-Con that's there.
Also, any events watching, any companies watching on this awesome simulcast. We've got quite a few people pouring. I got some comments here. We're going to flash one here from Justin Holmes. He's cool. So I like his. Actually, he brought up a good point. Also,
if you guys want to start advertising as well, we are going to have spots available at our site.
Yes, we will have spots available at our site. I believe we have both gentlemen here. We just saw Michael Hirsh join in the waiting room as in Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula. He's in the buffer in the middle of the universe of the digital awesomeness. Clive, I believe, is joined. I don't know if he's on camera yet. Give us 1 minute to let him join in. All right, they are both joining in, it looks like. I'm going to count down like Thunderbirds from the 60s. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clive Smith, you are logged in, and Michael Hirsh. Welcome to the show, guys.
Great to see you, Owen.
Hi, Owen. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. We're talking about all the Star Wars goodies this year that's coming up. Y'all are going to be at Celebration, I believe, correct?
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah.
We're going to be sending our correspondent, Kieran Burt, down there. He's flying all the way from London to Japan. He'll be down there as well, covering for our website here. First off, gentlemen, I want to introduce. Well, it's good to see you again, by the way, Michael. I haven't seen you in a quick minute.
Good to see you too.
What do y'all got going on over at Celebration? What kind of things y'all got going on down there?
So we're going to show clips from The Faithful Wookiee, which was the first Star Wars cartoon that was part of the 2-hour holiday special. We're going to show clips from Ewoks and droids, and those were the first Star Wars cartoons, and that's what we produced at Nelvana back starting in '78.
Introducing Boba Fett.
That's right, Boba Fett.
The first time Boba Fett was on the screen was as a 2-dimensional cartoon.
Now, I got to ask, Nelvana, tell everybody if they don't know what Nelvana is. It's one of the, go ahead, tell them what it is, both of you.
So Nelvana was a company that Clive, Patrick Lubera, and I built starting in 1971. And it was a company that did great shows like Babar, Tintin, the Star Wars cartoons, Beetlejuice, Franklin, Little Bear, Max and Ruby, Roly Poly Oly, and Pippi Longstocking.
A couple of features, Rock and Roll, and 3 Care Bear features.
Oh, wow.
And Pippi Longstocking. Yeah.
So,
Tintin's come up a big following over the years. They have a new Tintin. Have y'all seen it or anything?
You mean the Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson Tintin?
Yeah. What'd y'all think of that?
Pardon?
What'd y'all think about it?
I found it hard to watch because Tintin is probably so associated with that flat 2D look.
Right. Better.
I loved it. I thought it was tremendous because it was a whole different world of Tintin, and it was quite believable. It was such a Spielberg movie, It was fantasy and it was adventure. I thought it was good. I know it didn't hit the public very well. I know that.
I love
Tintin. A
A
lot of negatives.
Yeah. I was watching some of you. I was researching some of you, Clive. We never met before. Y'all done a lot of stuff. Y'all done Beetlejuice. I'm a big Beetlejuice guy myself. Y'all done everything from Arthur, the Magic School Bus, and basically my childhood and people's even back's childhood. It's like y'all are the compendium of animation awesomeness. I gotta ask, starting with you, Michael. Both of y'all, what brought y'all to animation? What do y'all find fascinating about animation? Just the art in general, or?
So in my case, I was an experimental filmmaker, and I was always interested in how do you best use the whole frame? How do you maximize the frame to put the most amount of content on for the viewer? And animation is the perfect art to do that in, because you have total control over the every shot. You have animated characters, not actors who will give you their own interpretation, etc. So that's what drew me to it.
So my background is I'm from England. You might notice. Art school. I stumbled into animation when I was at art school. I was just doing fine art, really, fine art, graphics and stuff like that. And there was a guy there who was doing I think I was in like the 2nd or 3rd year of my art school. He was way up in the 5th or 6th, and he was doing an animation film for his final test or whatever, his diploma. And I kind of helped him because he called upon me to do it. So that was really my first interest in animation. And then when I left art school, I messed around doing graphics, street graphics for a while with a guy named Michael English, who actually went to become quite famous illustrator. So we worked and we did stuff on the King's Road and in Chelsea and stuff like that, doing, super graphics.
Right.
I got a call from somebody who actually, then I got a job in a very tiny studio just outside London called
Okay.
Group 2 Animation. And I worked on the Beatles cartoon and the Lone Rangers series, which was fantastic. Fantastic. Really graphic, really marvelous. That was all subcontracted from the States, basically. That ran out. There was really virtually no business, no industry in London at the time. There was a few commercial houses, but very, very difficult to get into. And I didn't have enough experience, really. And I got a call from somebody in that I'd worked with at Group 2 who said there was an interesting project in Toronto, and they were looking for animators. I came to Toronto for a year to work on Rocket Robin Hood. Don't know if you've heard of that, but it's actually kind of classic now.
Very
good. I came here for a year, and that was 50 odd years ago. So yeah, that was, and so I'm an animator. I'm basically an animator, and I love drawing, and I love the whole process, and I love experimenting with different forms, different ways to move things around, different looks.
So when we first started, Patrick and my interest in experimental filmmaking combined with Clive's interest in experimenting with animation formats. So we did stop frame of plasticine, of paper animation, and we would do lots of interesting projects where we combined different forms of animation with live action. And we were constantly sort of pushing the envelope on coming up with new visual techniques and approaches to storytelling for kids.
Nice.
We did a whole series where Patrick and myself, and I think Michael on one occasion, actually acted in the live action portions.
Okay, wow. How was that? Like, I mean, live action parlaying the animations are two different paradigms, two different universes.
Yeah, in those days we didn't actually combine the animation, but we did a live action story with an animated insert, with animated inserts. For instance, I was Mr. Pencil.
Okay.
In Mr. Pencil Draws the Line, very, very famous short film. That ended up in a children's hospital where I, Mr. Pencil, was drawing stories based on the kids' ideas. And so that then I took away all those recordings and then animated to the new story. So we did stuff like that. Crazy stuff.
So when George Lucas first sort of reached out to us to work on the Star Wars cartoon, the first one, Faithful Wookiee, one of the things that I think he really took a liking to Nelvana and those of us who worked there because of our interest in experimental filmmaking. George had always been interested in the experimental shorts from the NFB. And so he told me that if he could fulfill his dream, it was to work for the NFB. Meanwhile, he had just made, American Graffiti and Star Wars and was the most...
THX 1138 as student film was pretty experimental.
No, that's right. But he had that experimental aspect within him and appreciation for it. And it's one of the things that also when we worked with Tim Burton, the fact that we were into multimedia and experimenting was something that he related to. And it took us out of the, the sort of stereotype of cartoon animation that was prevalent in the 70s and the 80s, where, Hanna-Barbera and Filmation, good studios, but they basically had developed a house style that was based upon limited animation, very little sense of anything being experimental. So, we were a group that filmmakers like Lucas and Burton relate to.
The overall impact, you got so many new animation shows. Have y'all seen any of the new stuff? What do y'all think about any of the stuff that kind of pops out that you like, whoa, that's really cool too?
I see a lot of stuff that I really like. A lot of stuff I don't like.
Well, I got to ask for. Go ahead, Michael.
There's a lot of great stuff being made.
Yeah.
Louis is terrific in sort of the preschool arena. It's fresh and got a great look. A lot of the stuff that started out being made for YouTube and is now moving over, like the Digital Circus Show from Australia, again, interesting looks. I think animation is really at has been experiencing a golden age in terms of the variety of looks and feels for animation.
Yeah, Flow is an amazing piece. Have you
No, what's that
seen
one about? I've heard of
Flow?
that.
It's a cat. It's animals that are. It's digital and AI somewhat,
Yeah.
but it was actually made with Blender, which is an fairly old,
A really good program.
platform.
I remember that program.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. It's
And
really
it won
beautiful.
the Academy Award.
Oh, it did.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
watch this tonight. That sounds. I didn't know that.
And it was a $4 million movie made in Latvia, a country that had never made an animation movie before.
Wow.
So again, the ability to sort of reach, and it's probably through social media and social platforms that things have opened up a lot, right?
Sure.
The whole industry used to be very LA centric.
Yeah.
And that's broadened to be the whole world. So you've got a studio like Aardman that's been very successful in England. When we ran Nelvana, it was a very successful studio.
Y'all were the top in the world or something like that.
Were.
Yeah. It's amazing. Wow.
I mean, there's such a range. There's such an enormous range of looks and attitudes. There's this girl in California, Kelly Bush, who is doing incredible short pieces on YouTube. That's where I'm seeing them anyway.
Now, what are they based on exactly?
Fantasy, like total fantasy. They're short pieces with the most bizarre characters, some very bizarre, some semi-bizarre, morphing into other characters. Stuff that we only dreamt of being able to do when we were using pencils and paper, when we started off in the 70s. But the thing about when we started off, I mean, we really built the studio, not only from a people point of view and from a project point of view, but from a technology point of view, because we didn't have the funds and we didn't have the technology back then to do what we're doing these days, So we had to figure out how to do stuff. Our first animation stand we built, and it was a guy that we found who actually built blimps and something, whatever. He'd never built an animation stand in his life, but we
built hovercrafts.
I love hovercraft. Okay, very cool.
We insisted that he could build this stand, so he did, and we basically just showed him how to do it. We ended up, we called it the rubber band stand because the technology for actually moving all these elements ended up being rubber bands. So there was a little bit of flexibility that we didn't really need, if you know what I mean. But that was our first stand, and we actually.
I would argue, Clive. I would argue with you. Our first.
You
stand,
always argue. You always argue with me, Michael.
Well, that's because
nothing
I love
new.
you. So the first stand was actually a Bolex 16 millimeter.
God, I didn't go back that far. Right, go
over
on.
A toilet bowl where there'd be a light underneath to do sort of underlighting. And that was our first camera stand. Now the stand Clive described is this first stand we used to make our first fully animated special, A Cosmic Christmas.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And that actually was the short or the special that Lucas saw that that basically informed him about this little studio in Toronto that was doing interesting work and basically involved him finding us and inviting us down to talk about the 10-minute cartoon.
Yeah. Wow. So I got to ask, you mentioned briefly, Clive, about AI. What are y'all's thoughts on that? It can be creative if used right. I've got some ideas on that. That might be something cool.
Well, you know what? I think it's fantastic. And I think it's also very dangerous in a sense, and it certainly is changing the way people are thinking about production.
Right.
You have to embrace it because it's brilliant and it's not going away. And it requires the same different creative attitudes and ideas that anything else requires, but you can work with different. You have different tools. You can work with different ideas. You can make things happen believably that was very hard to make believable if you didn't have the right tools. So I think it's great. I feel bad for people who are not able to make that jump. Also, let me say that it's not going to take away other forms of expression. It's not going to take away hand-drawn animation. Hand-drawn animation will always be here because drawing is fantastic. Pencil drawings is fantastic, and you can see the work that goes into it, and the expression of the person who's doing it is right there on the screen. Whereas with digital animation and with AI, it's so divorced from the creator. You don't necessarily see the creator in it. You see the product, and you go, "Wow, that's amazing! How did they do that?" But with a cartoon that's drawn, you get a sense of who's there, who's behind it.
That's exactly what you would expect to hear from Mr. Pencil.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Nice. I want to show y'all something.
Sure.
I've been working on some stuff. I've got some ideas. Maybe y'all might like this. Experiment. Let me share this real quick with you. Let me see. This is me. Of course, my hair is white. I dyed it on this side. I tried it out. This is me here. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me. So this thing here, I'm going to mute it, but it actually sounds like me. If you play it.
This just in, this year's Comic-Con may look different than we'd hoped. We might be facing an actor strike, which means your favorite panels from The Marvels to Loki Season 2 might not be happening. Major players like Disney, HBO, and Netflix are already sitting out, but don't lose hope. Some studios are holding the fort. Warner Brothers and Paramount Pictures might still dish out some excitement for Blue Beetle.
So that right there is an experimental animation system. The reason I brought up AI is I would like in the future to develop something that could allow people to have their own animated, whatever, how photorealistic or that's more animated. I want to look more animation, like an AI where they can interact or do whatever they want, narrate stuff, any multitude of things. And I'm very fascinated by that. But I agree with what Clive was saying. 2D animation, hand drawn, there's a soul to that, a general, there's just, it's real. I don't know what's your thoughts on that, Michael?
So, yeah, I think that, I've loved all the different forms of animation. And I think that 2D drawings are unique. And in fact, a lot of what's worked on YouTube has been 2D hand-drawn animation, although, finished through computer, but basically having, drawings as the beginning. There's a terrific young artist, Jaden, who built quite a large audience. And what's interesting is this animation done that way was, instead of being kind of storytelling or aimed at, sort of a young audience, is much more like personal short stories where, there's an epiphany and there's, sort of a reveal of the person's character. So that in a sense, it opens up animation again to a whole different type of storytelling, to a whole different type of audience. And people are doing the animation themselves and building up an audience, themselves without having a studio. And that's what's great about YouTube, is that YouTube really is a place for young, independent, talented people to build an audience and to, reach out and tell their stories, tell stories.
Yeah. In so many different mediums. Just going back to the piece that you played for us, Owen.
Yes, sir.
I'd much sooner see your face. To tell you the truth, I get more out of looking at you laughing and smiling than I ever got out of that.
I appreciate it.
So, from a technology point of view, it's cool, but I think you get tired of it. It's only that deep,
It's
You're
interesting
that dude.
experimenting with all these awesome technologies we have now, including animation. I got to ask both y'all getting in heavily in animation over the years. Is there any particular shows? I mean, you've got everything from Max Fleischer's Superman, you name it. Anything in particular that really was like when y'all watched as a kid, or was like, wow, this is really something really cool that kind of not inspired you, but just beyond that, like something like genuinely like, wow, this is amazing, kind of guided you on y'all's track.
Yeah, for me, it was a combination of the theatrical shorts that were there when I was a young person. So seeing the Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Warner Brother cartoons, they really, spoke to me. And the other group of cartoons that appealed to me were the early Mickey Mouse shorts that were theatrical.
Steamboat Mickey, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because those were all aimed at like a 4-quadrant audience. They were early in that way. Mickey was, not the sort of perfect character he eventually became as the icon for the whole Disney organization, but he was a scampy scoundrel kind of character, and the writing was terrific. The gags were terrific. Yeah, and so those early theatrical shorts had a big impact on me.
I didn't grow up with television.
Okay.
To tell you the truth,
It happens.
we didn't have television. I can't. What can I say?
What about radio? Did you have radio?
We did have radio. We did.
Yeah, the animated radio.
And it was where you put the two wires together and there's a little crystal. No.
Oh, you're talking about the vacuum tubes. Yeah, I collect some vacuum tube radios.
Radio is fantastic. I listened to radio, and I used to draw a lot while I listened to radio, and I could go back to my drawings and remember what I heard. I grew up on Disney. Disney features at the cinema. That was the first animation that I saw. So I didn't actually grow up with Mickey Mouse, and I sort of was introduced to those much later on.
What about stuff like Mary Poppins live action too?
Yeah. There was a film called The Little Island, and that was something that I did see when I was was at art school, I guess. That really blew me away, and I can't remember much about it, but I remember it was called The Little Island, and it was it was not anything like Disney. It was a little graphic story that was charming and warm and funny. I think that was actually one of the films where I thought to myself, I really want to be able to do that. I want to figure out how they do that.
Did you see the Disney when he teamed up with NASA to do the space cartoons back in the day? Those are pretty cool.
Oh.
Like when they were doing the space race, kind of like 1960s, 50s. They did a lot of animation on some really cool ones that Disney had done in collaboration with like NASA and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. But weren't they kind of warning films? Weren't they sort of,
They're more like space exploration, like talking, and then you have like segments where Walt Disney would come out and they talk about space stations and rocket ships and all kind of wild stuff.
Right. I do remember those. Yeah.
What about Michael? So a matter of fact, Michael, last time we talked, you had a book you're promoting. What tell little people about that?
Sure. So it's Animation Nation, available through Amazon.com. And it tells the story of how, together with Patrick and Clive, we started Nelvana. And then it goes on to go through the different productions. It begins with the, going to meet George Lucas for the Star Wars cartoons, continues through that Nelvana story. And then when we sold Nelvana and we left Nelvana, I then started 2 other companies, and it tells that story too, of Cookie Jar, where we did Johnny Test and we did Caillou and Arthur and Doodle Bops. Those are sort of, and Richard Scarry's Busy Town Mysteries. And then my third company was Wow Unlimited Media, where we took Frederator, best known for Adventure Time and Fairly Odd Parents. Interestingly, we had co-produced Fairly Odd Parents with Nickelodeon but at Frederator, when I had it, we did Castlevania, Bee and Puppy Cat, and Bravest Warriors.
Good stuff.
And we also had another company, a Canadian production company called Mainframe, where we did Barbie, all the CGI animated Barbie. CGI, yeah. And we did Unicorn Academy, Octonauts and a lot of other shows.
Michael is collecting companies, by the way. He's
Gotta
got a
collect them
room
all.
in the back of his house.
I want somebody to start the equivalent of a Comic-Con for company collection.
He's gonna
There
buy,
you go. That's cool.
he's gonna buy the Bay company soon, I think.
Well, I got to talk about Star Wars.
I've got a book.
Oh, you got a book? Oh, I want to hear about your book.
And it's a great book.
Don't go away.
Oh, you're good. Stay tuned.
While we're waiting for Clive, his
There
book.
it
There you go. His book came back quick. Oh,
There
wow.
it is. Oh, it's upside.
Love that
No, it's
cover,
not.
man.
That's
It's
right.
dope.
Yeah,
Love
there
that.
it is. It's the rather unusual adventures of Ice Cream Girl and Mr. Licorice.
That's all. It's a graphic novel.
It's a graphic novel. Yeah.
Very cool. Gorgeous art. You drew all that?
I put a team together. I did some of the drawing. I did all the direction and the layouts and all that stuff. But I had 2 or 3 different people working for me, doing different styles in there too. It started off actually as a screenplay.
Okay.
It was going to be a live action animation. It's about a young man who has a serious condition that causes him to see the world as a cartoon.
Oh, wow.
And he learns somewhere in Act 2 that his father, in fact, was an animated character.
Oh, wow.
So
How did you come up with that? How did that? Where's the inspiration for that?
I think it's autobiographical.
Well, you may laugh.
No, it's cool.
I meant it seriously. Yes.
You haven't met my father.
He was an animator. Was
Sorry?
he an animator? Was he an animator?
No. He was a milkman.
Okay.
My dad was a milkman. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
And
my
I
math
loved it.
teacher, her milkman was Elvis Presley, so I respect that. That's
Really? Wow. That's a claim to fame.
Yeah. The Star Wars celebrations coming up. Have y'all been to those before? Y'all like those?
No,
We haven't been to that. We've been to some comic events here.
Well, Tokyo's this year's Tokyo. I believe the last one was in London, and I guess they'll bring it back to the U.S. for the 50th anniversary. We've got Kieran down there. He's super stoked to be down there in Japan, by the way. I mean, I wish we could be down there, but we're busy doing stuff. But what are y'all looking forward to in Japan? I know there's a lot of cool pop culture stuff down there. They're huge on the sci-fi and pop culture down there.
Oh, I'm really excited. Really excited. I mean, I've spent a little bit of time in Japan, but not a lot. So I'm really great. I'm looking forward to being in Tokyo and looking forward to the event. Obviously, we just got the program actually for the event. Michael just forwarded it to me today. So there's a lot going on there, and and a lot of people too. A lot of guests.
Yeah, tons. Is George going to be there? Do you know if he's got? I know he's at the one in Orlando for the 40th.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think he was still the owner of Lucasfilm then, right? I mean,
no, he wasn't. He had sold Lucasfilm before that. He came up there. It's a very rare, interesting. So we were down there as media down there covering in Orlando in 2017. And when I walked, here's my introduction to Star Wars Celebration. I walked straight in, boom, there's George Lucas on stage and a 2-foot story TIE fighter and all this jazz. And then they have the panel for Harrison Ford walks out, and the people are going crazy with that. And then they say, now we have a little special treat. And then the lights go up, and there's John Williams playing a symphony. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, no, that's pretty
incredible. They go all out.
So I'm hoping not only to sort of, have that Star Wars experience, but to basically meet friends from the anime and manga industries in Japan and catch up on what they're doing. Because we did a lot of business in Japan. At Nelvana, we brought Beyblades, the spinning top, into the rest of the world.
Those.
We did Card Capture Katsura, and we co-produced some Babar episodes as well. So, it's a place that we did a lot of business, and
we did Inspector Gadget.
Ooh, I love that. The original series with the guy from Get Smart, right? Was the voice actor for that, right?
Yeah.
No, not Don Adams.
John Adams.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We did that in Japan.
So Japan is cool deal. It's hard, I can tell that much.
Yeah, so Japan is really one of the great animation countries. So when we saw that the Star Wars celebration was happening there, I talked to Clive and we decided, we'd like to be part of that. And, it's always great to go to a place where animation is appreciated.
What time is y'all's panel over at Star Wars? What day is it? The first?
It's on the Saturday. It's on the 19th, and it's at 10:30 in the morning.
and they're 14 hours ahead of us. We're on CST, so we're going to be bringing, I think, Kieran on at 9 p.m. our time, which is like 10 or 11 his time out in Japan.
Right.
Late at night. But yeah, that's going to be awesome. I guess they'll bring it back for the 50th anniversary, probably in the U.S., if I wouldn't be surprised. I was going to ask y'all, in y'all's own words, this is kind of a loaded question, a cool question, in my opinion. What does animation and what y'all do mean to you, and what do you strive to deliver to the fans about like the message of what y'all like to do, like all the coolness?
The message.
Right. It doesn't have to be like political, just something like what's something positive you like to deliver.
I just think it's a wonderful way to express ideas, and you shouldn't be limited to any kind of medium or any kind of ideas. Ideas can be as broad as the visuals can be, and it's like a fantastic medium because it can go anywhere. And look at it now. I mean, there's such a range of different looks and different worlds that you can create. And it's I won't say it's only just started, but in a sense it's going to go where we can't even imagine right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Could we have imagined what AI was doing? I mean, the stuff that we're seeing,
crazy from that.
You really wonder how the hell you could ever get that on the screen.
Right.
So in my case, depending upon the age group, it's kind of different, right? So we did a lot of shows for preschool, and we specialized in a lot of preschool shows that were kind of gentle. They had what I call charm right. and warmth, and they were soothing for kids, and they were shows that parents felt really good about their kids watching. So, Babar, Little Bear, Roly Poly Oly, Franklin, Max and Ruby all fit into that category. So in that category, that's kind of what I look for. In the 6 to 11, I like the fun shows, the comedy, where it's zany and, you're getting gags and you're entertaining kids with that. And then there's the primetime kind of 4-quadrant shows like, say Castlevania or Bee and Puppy Cat.
That's a cool show.
Where you can stretch the envelope and expand the sphere of what animation was typically doing and reach a broader, wider audience. So what's great about animation is it tends to be different things to different age groups, right?
What about Clive and both of y'all? If there's something that came on y'all's plate, is there anything y'all would like to get involved with now that would be like, wow, if I got that opportunity, that would be something I would really want to jump on and be. Could be animation, could be anything in any quadrant that's related to entertainment or beyond. Anything that you see now that it kind of catches your ear, or that's intriguing that you might want to be a part of now in this just AI or anything for that matter.
Well, I mean, I have got a project that I'm talking to somebody in California about right now, which is potentially it's a series, and we're just thinking through the visual look of it, and I think it's going to be. I think it can be certainly a lot of AI in it, but again, very colorful, but bizarre. I mean, I'm on the other end of the spectrum, nice. Michael. Right. I like strange, bizarre, and witty and funny. But more adult. Yeah. I'm sort of done with kids, to tell you the truth.
What about you, Michael?
Again, I have that wide interest, and would definitely find the right project attractive. I think this movie Flow that we were talking about earlier is really an interesting kind of opportunity, because here's a $4 million movie made by people who were passionate about making this cartoon, and it got a worldwide audience, won an Academy Award. So I think the ability to break through with projects is interesting. When we did Rock and Rule, which was our first animated movie, it was hard to get an audience. It was hard to get the attention, because animation was specifically kind of ghettoed and siloed, and it
was very much aimed at kids at that time, and what Rock and Roll was a more adult theme. It was a more adult film. So we kind of
stuff
slipped
like
between
heavy metal
the cracks.
too. Heavy metal was a pretty cool one.
Sure.
Yeah.
That came out. That was sort of in production pretty much around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually passed on doing the animation for heavy metal.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because we already had our show in development for about a year before that, and we were kind of really tied into it and in love with it. Jerry Potterson, a friend of mine, ours, directed that. What was I going to say about that?
Well,
Yeah, I mean the fact that heavy metal already had a feeling, it had a following, it had a comic book, so it already had a profile, and I think that's clearly one of the things that helped it on its way as a movie.
Very bizarre, very, very clever.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, in closing, what is something, if people are getting into animation, or young, old, if people want to be getting into cartoons or something cool in that ecosphere, is there some wisdom words that you each in your own words could tell the fans and the viewers that are watching now about, like, from y'all's perspective?
Well, I'll start.
You start.
It has to do with YouTube. I think that the opportunity for a young person who has something to say and wants to say it through animation, there's never been a better time to put it out there, because you have this platform called YouTube where there's nobody who curates you, nobody that has to say, yes, you could put this here. And it's up to you to build an audience. And if you're able to do that because you're good at, working the social platforms, then you can build a brand. You can build a brand for yourself, for your characters, for your show, and you could build a business without having to start a big studio. When Clive and I and Patrick started Nelvana, we kind of had to build a studio because animation took a lot of people, and you had to have like equipment, etc. Whereas now you can pick up, elements online, software that's free online to make your show, like Blender, So that's my advice to young people, and that's really there's never been a better time to do what you're doing, but do it.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree with Michael. I think that
no, really.
Very sorry.
You're not supposed to agree with me.
I know. I'm going against the grain here. I know so many people who are out of work. I know so many people who are keen to get into animation, and the business now, the industry now, has changed so much since we had a studio. And as Michael said, it's not all about studio anymore. It's really, if you have the passion and the will and the stamina and whatever to get and had ideas to get out there, you kind of have to figure out a way to do it yourself.
Right.
And there are ways to do it yourself. There are so many programs now, really cool programs.
Yeah, they really are.
From like Toon Boom to Blender, and there's like dozens of animation software that's not that expensive. And you can teach yourself, and you can do it on your laptop. Yeah. And just do it, experiment, get your ideas, and then get it onto YouTube, put it on your phone, and send it off to all your friends. I mean, this is your weapon here.
It's a portable broadcast studio in your pocket.
That's what it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank y'all both for joining us. Absolute pleasure talking. I would love to have y'all back on. I hope y'all's panel goes really well down there at Celebration, and have fun in Tokyo, Japan.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem. You guys have a beautiful day.
Thanks, Owen. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.